Congressman Biggs had the director, Colette Peters, on the griddle today to answer whether the BOP was implementing the First Step Act. I couldn't hear it because I was doing other things at the time. But my brother Biggs, I got to say, Andy, was one of the few in the Republican delegation, sadly to say, that has had the backs of me and Steve Bannon and others and President Trump with respect to the J6 committee. Andy, welcome. Congressman Biggs. And, sir, how'd it go with Colette Peters today? Why don't you let the audience know what happened?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. And I'm good to see you. I'm glad to see you out and free and glad to be able to communicate freely with you. And by the way, we did bring it up that Gates and actually he was trying to get in. I was trying to ride his coattails in to see you, but they wouldn't let us in. Anyway, so when we start talking about the First Step Act, I think, by the way, just so you know, Peter really is an insider whistleblower now because he can tell us what he observed and saw in the federal prisons. But here's the deal. Director Peters acknowledged that they're behind. She couldn't tell me exactly how many, but the number looks to be like 60,000. That's what you reported, and that's the number I used. She didn't dispute that. She knows it's a big number. She knows that they're way behind. And so, in essence, she acknowledged that they weren't actually obeying or complying, as probably best the way, with the First Step Act. She claims that they're trying to, but I pointed out in that hearing that the number could be as high as $5 billion in savings for a Bureau of Prisons that wants to save all this money, right, or find all this money for new, infrastructure, et cetera. If they would actually process these individuals and go forward, they would find $5 billion in savings. And Peter, if that doesn't entice a bureaucrat that they can find a way to get $5 billion, then nothing will, in my opinion.
Did she make any commitments? We had talked offline. I talked with Matt Gaetz about this. I mean, the two solutions here, Andy, are really simple. All they have to do is put this calculator in, the new calculator in, which will calculate the credits properly. And most importantly, I hope the question was raised, if she simply ordered the BOP to put people in electronically monitored home confinement if there's not RRC or halfway house capacity. Did that come up? Did she commit to anything like that?
Well, so let's talk about the calculator first.
Sure.
I questioned her about that, and what she told me is that it just came online. They actually have a calculator now that's accurate and can be reflective of each inmate's time and also their earned credits. And that's about where my 5 minutes ran out. But okay. That's where we got to. She tells me that it's in place. And I told her that I had a series of additional questions that she'll be getting from me. And I have to tell you that I had to also go through a series of questions that we'd already asked that she had not sent us fulsome responses to, documents, et cetera.
Sure.
So I had to do that to start it off. But that's why I kind of ran out of time before I got to here's maybe some other avenues that you have. But she agreed to do two things, which I think are important. Number one, she's going to answer all of our questions in a more fulsome manner, and that allows me to ask the additional questions you wanted to ask. The second thing is I told her that as the chairman of the subcommittee, I intend to go to the Danbury minimum security facility in Danbury, Connecticut, where Steve Bannon is held, and I intend. I told her I want to take a tour of that facility, and then I want to meet with Mr. Bannon, and I'm going to bring some of these committee members with me, and she agreed to facilitate that.
Well, do me a favor on this, Andy. Two things. One is, in the question that you send her, have her say, the question is, will you commit to a policy, immediate policy, that if you don't have RRC, that's Residential Reentry Center, we call them halfway houses. If you don't have RRC capacity, will you commit to immediately sending these folks to home confinement? The halfway houses, Andy, it costs $60,000 a year for the taxpayers in prison. It's about $30,000 to a halfway house, but once you get to home confinement, it drops to about 10. And there's no reason why these guys. I mean, the default here is the most expensive option because they don't have their act together. If you can get her to commit to that, and you can get her to just implement the calculator, $5 billion, man, we've got that. We've got that. And then the second thing, maybe you could share this with Matt. I'll share it with his general counsel, Clouster. I'd be happy to go with Matt to the Miami facility and take him on a tour, meet the warden, meet the facility administrator, and show him. I mean, there's other stuff. I mean, there's issues related to just there's no medical care. The prescription drug thing is a joke. The kitchen's like cockroach infested, and I lost 15 pounds there, and it's just. I mean, it's not like an environment. There's not enough of the programming you mentioned. So be happy to do that. And that'll be interesting if they let you into Danbury. I mean, what Matt wanted to do was do a little podcast from there. That's why they wouldn't let him in there. But take the camera with you, brother.
Yeah, Peter, you're too notorious, my friend. Notorious Doc
I got a tattoo in prison that said I'm Notorious PKN now. Well, it sounds like you made good progress, brother. Where do we go from here? I don't know. I mean, certainly if it was Matt's choice and your choice, you would have had me in there testifying today. It's like it's kind of ironic. I went to prison for refusing to testify before Congress. And now when I'm willing to do it fresh out of prison, I can't get a microphone. What's the deal here? I've got this issue. I can save these. Tell these guys it's bipartisan. It's $5 billion.
Yeah, I think, Peter, I think I can work on facilitating you coming to testify before Congress. And I would like to get some others too. I think put you on a panel with a couple other guys who can relate their experiences to us. I think that would be really beneficial, and that's something I'm going to look forward to doing. I'm going to work on that, Peter.
A quick story. This guy, James Medard, he last day I was there, I saw him, I heard his mom died. I said to him, "Hey, James, I'm really sorry about your mom." And he looks at me, and he goes, he says to me, she just couldn't wait any longer. And what he meant by that was she couldn't wait for him to get out. And here's the thing, Andy, that guy should have been out in April. If he'd been put out in April by the Bureau of Prisons, we would have saved a bunch of taxpayer money, and he could have been with his dying mom, and she died without him. So there's a human side to this. I saw so many of these people. I mean, it's a tragedy. They, good people doing bad things, but that's what prisons are supposed to do. They're supposed to punish, but also get them ready for the next step. Any other final words you want to say on what happened today? What's your read on Peters? I mean, we got Cheadle out of there on a scale of 1 to 100. That's 100 in terms of her failure. Yeah. I put Peters at about a 50. Do you think she's competent for the job? What was your read on that?
I've met with her a couple of times trying to get a read on it myself. I think she wants to do the job right. I'm convinced that there's a massive bureaucracy here, Peter. So let me just tell you one of my solutions to it, just so people know.
Sure.
We're not talking about murderers, rapists, violent people that are going to get these early release credits. There's a lower level of criminal that's persons that's been charged with a crime and convicted. But here's the deal: I believe there's far too many federal crimes, Peter. I think by and large the founders had it right. That the criminal law is supposed to be left to the states. It's just a few crimes that would actually qualify for a federal crime. But we have literally 40,000 plus crimes at the federal level. So that means people can end up going to prison for some of the craziest
Let
things ever.
Let me say something quickly because you got to run, but I want you to hear this. There was 2 guys in there, both of whom were compliant with state law, who were sent to prison because of a violation of federal law. One in the state of Washington, one in the state of Florida. Think about it, Andy.
Yeah.
They did everything right. The feds come along, so finish that. Okay, well, I hear the music. We're getting out of here. You're a hero and a patriot, sir. Thank you for popping on today.
Too.
Give my regards to the folks there, and let's get this done. I'm Peter Navarro in the War Room.